Hello, everybody. This is Zoe. I don't have a nation. I have played in a few different nations, but I'm currently not playing at the moment. In case any of you haven't um, met me, I am Farrell Vincent's wife. Um, I'm kind of debating on calling him Viz for short because, just makes life easier for me. Uh, I am making a really weird video. Forgive me, this is not my thing to be on YouTube and talking. This is absolutely my husband's thing. But I wanted to bring up a really kind of just odd topic. So I hear, Fizz talking about how to make a nation stronger, how to be the best. And a lot of people are super competitive, and that's wonderful. Um, for me, the reason why I stopped playing is because I feel that it gets super, super competitive. So for me, I like being super casual. I would love to be a farmer. That would be my happy dream in the world of AOZ. Be able to farm, hit dead cities mainly. Um, I had I had fun in a new nation. I want to say it was 813, 817. It's been a minute. And in a new nation, I was able to do that for quite a while and get away with it before things became super competitive. But it got really hard when it came to Nation 506 before it was 473, or nations like, oh my gosh, I'm spacing his name. Uh, I believe Lumberg's in the same nation. Woody, I'm spacing that super big guy who left the game that has his poodle as his avatar. Um, I was in that nation for a little bit, but the problem I ran into and the issue I had was that I, as a new person, could not come into that nation and build myself up from the ground up, essentially. Why is that? So in order to win events, a lot of the more competitive individuals will need to make sure that farms, people who aren't very active, do not give up points. So, purging, essentially, right? Well, some of the rules in older nations make it very hard to grow. So, as an example, if you are below C12, or if you're C12 or above, sorry, let me be very specific. If you're C12 or above and you have T5 plus troops, you will be purged. Okay. And I understand that from a fundamental, let's make sure we're strong point, but it kind of puts a damper on the game if I want to play a little more casually. I might be the only one who plays casually. I'm not sure. I feel like there might be others who can kind of identify with what I feel. But I wanted to kind of voice it, right? Because it's kind of that we hear people complaining about being purged. We hear valid, I would argue, valid excuses, right? But where is that balance, right? Where is the balance between having, the major players, money spenders, the time devoters, mix of both, right? Be able to compete, be able to have those higher numbers as long as they're not matched against certain super nations, right? And have their fun. But then, other people who may not have a lot of time, who may have a lot more going on in their lives, be able to just kind of come on, chat with people, farm, right? I don't really like the negative connotations around farming. I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually would argue that farmers are kind of needed. That could be its own video if Fizz doesn't make it. But um, where does that balance come in? It would be kind of nice, as an example, if there were nations that were okay. We have the competitive people in one nation and farmers in another, right? It would also be kind of nice if we had a balance of both. Farmers could provide for the ones that are super competitive, and the super competitive can focus on what they're doing. There is one person in the higher UBF leadership, I'm not going to mention their name, just because I want to respect that person. But they do not like to farm, get resources. They don't like to do a lot of the chores, right? And so having, somebody who's a lot more like, hey, I like doing the chores, I'll do them for you, no problem, right? That kind of balance would be really nice. But then how do you balance that between people having fun and people not giving up points, and the ones who could be competitive being able to go into those events and not give up points in the nation? I think the T4 troops has a good start, right? If you're a farm, T5 plus may not make a lot of sense for that. But what is the definition of a farm, right? So I imagine a lot of us may agree with the consensus that a farm is anything other than the main city. Okay. But then, like, what if the main city is the quote unquote farm, right? Like, for me, as an example, I will put myself out there. I would love to have my main city as a farm and, not necessarily need resources from like another farm. Like, for example, my main cities will always be Zoe, and then my farms will be some variation of Zoe. However, that makes it a little difficult in those definitions. So I kind of wanted to bring this perspective into a play just to kind of see, hey, am I the only one, or am I just kind of whining to whine, right? Like I feel like if one person has a perspective, more than one person will. And maybe just to kind of get a feedback, right? Like, are there ideas for ways to be able to play more casually and have fun without the joy being sucked out of it and being purged every single 2 weeks or so? That's really the only reason why I haven't been playing. I mean, if I could, I haven't told Fizz this yet, but I'm always half debating on starting a city and a new nation and just kind of going for a little bit until it gets to that point. But it's like, okay, well, that helps to a certain degree, but then it's just, I have to stop at some point because then it gets super competitive, right? So that doesn't really line up for me. I imagine most of you watching are probably going to be more on that. I want to be strong, and I want to be super competitive and super into it. And that is completely acceptable. I feel like there's a lot of pressure with being competitive. And that's where it's really hard with a game that you pay more money, you tend to get a lot stronger than if you're not, if you're just dedicating time. But even like, okay, so we have a son. I am pregnant with twins. I am sure Fizz has mentioned this or has some deviation of this on his channel somewhere. So like, I may not have a lot of time to give. So where is the balance between being able to enjoy this fun game, have some moments where I'm like, okay, I may want to participate in an event or two, right? But maybe not pour my heart and soul into it, right? I don't feel like that is something I can do while being present with my family and outside of the game. I would love to come back and interact with people. That was one of the things that drew me to the game, kept me in the game for a while. And it's hard to give that up, right? That social aspect, the unity that comes together with both camaraderie and, well, drama. Not gonna lie, sometimes drama can be fun, just depending on what it is. So I wanted to bring that perspective to the table, just kind of get your guys' feel on it. And I'm sorry, I ramble a lot more than Fizz, so I apologize. I'm gonna kind of wrap up the video here, but I want to say thank you all very, very, very much for supporting my husband on this channel and making a desire of his come true, where he can be vocal, educating, helping, in something that he's really good at, something that he really loves to do, and be able to get feedback, be able to get questions, and kind of be able to do like a little mentor thing, right? He's really good at that. We both appreciate that. He has you guys as backing and support. And I just wanted to give a quick thank you. We really, really appreciate it. So, I mean, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. It helps them out quite a bit. I mean, if you guys want another Zoe video, it could happen, just kind of depending on what you guys want. But if it comes to numbers, I am terrible at math, so please leave that to Fizz. He's a lot better at it than I am. So thank you for listening. Have a great one.